And there was the odd thing where we'd still be going from the night before in there. But then I think you can blatantly see that if you really look at the state of it. When we got there and I tried to get out, I tried to stand up, I couldn't stand up.
It's a hell of a series. Oh, I know you hooked up with the Marines a few times during the course of that.
And seeing people message you and say, thanks for the inspiration, is it's quite special. Nothing like that is ever a straight line.
Matt, how are you, brother?
Good, man. The missus has just bought me in a cup of tea.
Yes. Who said slavery is illegal? Is that Lemmy? That's your dog, isn't it, Lemmy?
Yeah, Lemmy, yeah.
Is that named after Motorhead, Lemmy?
Yeah, named after Lemmy from Motorhead.
Yes.
Mate, it was either going to be one of the two. I was either going to call him Freddie Mercury, or Lemmy. Lemmy one. But if I was going to get another dog, he'd be called Freddie.
Well, it's a big thing. You're like me. You like to listen to music when you're running.
Yeah, I really do like listening to tunes. My music tastes are very varied, and I'm quite autistic as well when it comes to listening to music when I'm running. There's a mix by Lisa Lashes actually, and it's on SoundCloud, and I can't even begin to tell you how many times I've just listened to the same. I could listen, like, I don't ever get bored of it. If I get into something, I just won't get bored of it. I'll just listen to the same thing all the time. But most people will just I've done that now once or twice. I'll go on to something else. But still, to this day, for God knows how long, I can still get like goosebumps. I get the same feeling from this mix. And actually, yesterday I went for a run yesterday, and I pressed the Forrest Gump theme tune, the dun 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 dun, and I got lost. And I thought and I love that tune. God, it's my favorite film as well. And then I kept it on and then they went on to classical music, and then it was just this classical music just started. And I've never listened to that running before, and it just took me on a mental journey in my head, and it's so powerful. It's unbelievable. I got quite emotional and everything. I was like, wow, I'm going to really help my running as well. So today, I stuck some more on. I enjoyed it again.
Yeah, I'm a bit the same, mate. You've done the John O'Groats run, haven't you? You've done John O'Groats to Land's End. Yeah, when I did that, I had a little MP3 player, and it just kept scrolling the same. I don't know, it was probably 200 tracks, but they just kept coming round again. Everything. I put Rocky on there 5 times.
I got Rocky as well.
Yeah. I got like Avril Lavigne. There's a bit of Madonna. It's just. But house music's my favorite. I just love the uplifting nature of it.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm in paradise, mate, when I run.
Yeah, it most definitely helps you running. And it just sort of helps kick those endorphins as well, and the feel good stuff. Like when you're running, that does that anyway. But with the music as well, it elevates it even more. And when I rode the Atlantic, I chose not to take any music with me. I had my phone, but I chose not to take any music. I thought I'll just be a woman nature man. So in the night times, like all the other boys, they were sticking their earphones on, and they were like, "Well, you haven't got earphones." It's like, no, I'll just run. And I was quite happy doing that, but I had no one to talk to in the night because they were just, obviously wouldn't be sleeping, and then the other one would be listening to music or whatever. And then halfway through the Atlantic, they still just try it. So they gave me some earphones because Billy, the skipper, he had some spare earphones, and I stuck them in. Oh man, I put the Fat Boy Slim continuous mix on from Brighton, on Brighton Beach, and I love that mix as well. And that was it. I was I was rowing, and I played the same mix pretty much every 2 hour row. I went over through the night until I got to the end of the bloody row, and Billy behind me was like, "What the fuck are you listening to?" Because I was rowing and fucking headbanging at the same time and getting into music and popping up and down. So yeah, it's quite funny.
How did the row come around? Because we had the wonderful Johnny Ward on the podcast just after he summited Everest.
I watched that podcast. It was really good.
Yeah, he's a cracking chap. I just saw that he'd summited Everest, and that's always been a bit of a dream of mine. I know a few people that have done it. I know Nims Dai, who climbed was it 14 highest peaks in
I watched that. I watched that on Netflix as well. Gnarly, man.
Yeah, just been beaten by a Norwegian girl.
Really?
Yeah, her and her team did it in something. I'm pretty sure it's the same, 14 highest peaks or 12 highest peaks. They did it. Nims Dai, friends at home, he's a former Gurkha who joined the SBS. That's the Marine Special Boat Service, which is quite a unique thing to do. I think he was the first to do it. And Nims from Nepal, he's this ninja guy. He doesn't just summit these peaks, but he's like rescuing people from high altitude, bringing them down when their whole team's like left them up there to die, basically, which is not a slight on them. It's harsh up there. But Nims is so ninja. He's like, right, come on, let's get round this person. Let's get them down. And he saved quite a few lives. He's now trying to summit the Mall, I think, without oxygen, to be the first one to do that. But there's a Norwegian girl just started to follow her on Instagram, and her team did it in something crazy, Matt, like 2 months or something. I'll look up her name in a bit. But how did it come around that you and Johnny hooked up then to row the Atlantic? Because that can be quite a lot of planning, can't it? An awful lot of money.
Well, I was with my mate John Haskell in Cardiff over lockdown, and he's got a boat down in Bath Arena. And I was just out for a bike ride, and he was on his boat, and he called me in. Come on, can I have a drink with me? So we're having a drink on his boat, went out in the water a little bit. Had a mess about a nice hot sunny day, and he said he was going to be doing the Indian Ocean. And I was like, because he's done the Atlantic already, he did in 2011 in a wooden boat. I was like, oh, Indian Ocean, that's going to be mental. Yeah, and he was all stoked and everything. And because of lockdown and stuff, it didn't happen. Cut the long story short, yeah, and it wasn't going to happen. So he phoned me. He said, well, Billy, who he was going to do it with, from Monkey Fist Adventures, he was going to do the Atlantic Ocean instead. And he said, would you like to do it? And I was like, what? Really? He said, yeah. There's a space, there's a seat there. I've done the Atlantic. If you want to do it, and and I said, yeah, I'd love to do it. So then I hooked up with Billy and the rest of the team. So it was me and Billy, and then they put a thing out on social saying there's two seats left, and if anyone wants those seats, quite a few people applied, and then we interviewed everyone, and then we boxed them all down to I can't remember how many it was, but Johnny and Martin were in there, and then Johnny and Martin was, so that's how I got to meet Johnny.
Did you have to pay out of your own money, Matt? Because usually people kind of fundraise for this, don't they? And the boat is obviously a big outlay, but if you've got one already, that gets around that, I guess.
It was all sponsored. I was pretty lucky, really, and it was just it couldn't have come at a better time for me, because after lockdown, like everyone, what a shit time and what a shit year it was. Get away from the noise and the crap of what was going on, and just be in the middle of nowhere, just rowing a boat instead.
Yes, and some of your you managed to get some video out as you were going across, didn't you?
Yeah, luckily we had this wife. We could have Wi-Fi on it. I mean, we only had a certain amount we could use every day, but we sort of kept it. We were quite strict on it, really, and it's just mad. Like, at the end of the day, I didn't want to be going on social media and doing like, but that's the kind of stuff I was escaping: emails, social media. You know, the constant noise of being on land. I just wanted, or the only noise I wanted to hear was like fucking waves or dolphins or whatever. But yeah, it was. We did have internet, and we were just sending stuff over to Barry from Monkey Fist, who was updating our socials and everything, because he was looking after our socials and updating everyone on how we were getting on, and updating our families via WhatsApp group, saying that we were all okay and everything was fine.
First off, thanks for the inspiration, because I watched your trip. I thought, I've always wanted to do that as well. So now's the time. Let's just start planning it, Chris. I'm really lucky that I know quite a few servicemen that have done it, and one of them just happens to be a really good mate of mine, and his crew, you can say, his buddies, they've got a boat. So basically we got to come up with $8,000 each, which is, in the grand scheme of things, it's nothing like 60 grand like some people have to come up with,
Yeah.
Jack Jarvis is a mate of mine. He was the first person to row from, I think it was mainland Europe to North America. So he ended up in somewhere like bloody Miami. He was at sea on his own for 102 days. And I think, his outlay was like 80 grand. So 10 times what we've got to find. But it was interesting when I chat with Johnny, and I read his blog as well. He's got a really excellent blog. He's really good at like putting the human experience across. And he was like, Chris, I cried myself to sleep like every night. I hated it.
Oh.
And
Johnny was, I think he said himself that he wasn't really a big fan of the closed. You just, you can't get away. There's no way you're fucking stuck in this little cabin, and you're just so close to one another. And I don't think he was a massive fan of that. And I knew he was struggling to sleep as well. And it's really important to get as much. Well, you can imagine. You're so fucking knackered, and you're working so hard.
Well, I said to the boys, we went out for a beer to discuss our plans the other night down at the Barbican in Plymouth. And I said to him, is it really that bad? And they were like, no, it's not that bad, Chris. But we're all ex-Marines, so I don't know if that being used to working in a team in weird environments, I'm hoping that's gonna, maybe to like a civilian who's used to sort of doing their thing, it was a bit of a culture shock.
I mean, I enjoyed it. I mean, don't get me wrong. It was by far one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life, and it was fucking, waking up when you barely slept. I mean, I was pretty good at sleeping. As soon as I ate my food, put my head on the pillow, I was gone. Everyone they were taking a piss. I think they were quite jealous as well that I was managed to switch off so easily. But when that alarm goes, or not the alarm, when the bookers was 10 minutes, they'd say 10 minutes, knock on the door, and so you'd have 10 minutes to get ready and put your stuff on before you got out there. That was like, oh, again. That happened quite a few times in a 24-hour period. Was
it frightening at all? Did you get some sort of big waves coming in?
From what I heard, we had a pretty smooth crossing, but I mean, it was too fucking smooth, because the bigger the waves, the bigger the weather. If going in the right direction, it helps you go in that direction, and you're going pretty fast. But the water was so calm, and some of the weather was so calm at times that we really had to pull on the oars to try and build up any speed. So that was quite tough, and it was boiling hot, like boiling. There's no shelter from the sun, and then when you go into the cabin, that's just like an oven. And it was, but we did have one day where we had big waves, and I was just like, oh man, you can see it. it's hard to explain. It's not like being on the beach and there's like white water waves. You can see them rolling, the shoes rolling mountains, and you're 1 minute you're at the top of them and you can see everything, and then the next minute you're sort of you're dropping down into the base of the wave, and you can feel your body getting heavier because you're going, oh, and then you're going straight back up again. But then coming down those waves, like rowing and surfing the waves, was a hell of a buzz. But then going into the cabin and sleeping, and the sound of the waves, sometimes you'd wake up and all the sounds are accentuated in this little cabin, and it just sounded like hell out there. Like bang, whoosh, boom. It's like, ever since I've been asleep, it's got worse. I've got to go out. I've got to go out and sit on that. And then as soon as you open the door, you just, the elements are there, and it's like, but like I said, our cross was pretty smooth. But I dread to think what it must be like when the waves are like hitting. The waves are coming all over the boat and everything. It's pretty gnarly.
Where did you come ashore in?
Antigua.
Oh, lovely.
Lanzarote. Lanzarote, then we had a bit of a back up with the boat, and then we went to Fuerteventura. It took 5 days to fix the boat, and then we headed off to Antigua.
Yeah, Johnny was saying about that. There was a few kind of experimental novice errors on the boat because it was a new boat, wasn't it?
My seat went. Where the rollers are, the seat they just broke. And it's like, we can't go into the middle of the Atlantic with a broken seat. It just wouldn't work. So we were trying to fix it, and then we didn't call Mayday. You call something else, but we're not in danger. But they came out anyway. The Spanish Coast Guard. The language barrier was just not happening. And they had the power anchor underneath the boat. And Billy's trying to pull the power anchor, and he's trying to tell them, whoa, there's like 100-foot huge like parachute in the water, and this boat is going around, and they got the propellers and this rope, and they're like, no. They didn't know. And Billy, I'm trying to put this thing in. And I was like, oh my God, man, this is all, I'm just sitting there going, this is my first experience, like after like a day, and this is happening. I thought, oh shit. And then they were like, grab this rope so they could pull us in. And we were like, whoa, we haven't even put the power anchor in yet. Anyway, shut this fucking rope, and it's got a huge bulbous metal thing on the end. Literally almost took fucking Martin's head off. It would have killed him. Literally would have killed him. And then we had to grab that, then they pulled us in, and then we had a massive, and then the boat came, this huge boat crashed straight into our fucking, and I was like, oh my God, and a massive dent in the fiberglass, and like, any minute now we're going to drown. But we attached it to the boat, and then 7 hours it took for them to tug us back to Fuerteventura, and I was just like, boom. But yeah, anyway, we got there, 5 days, fixed the boat, and off we went back to Antigua, and it was all good.
And what's it like when you see land?
Oh man, it's just, I was the first person to see land, and I'm sitting there, like I'm on my break, cooking my food, and I looked up. I didn't say anything, I kept it to myself. Is that? I know, they're the clouds, and then no, it's the mountain. That's land. And I said to the boys, boys, it's fucking land. And they were like, they didn't believe me, so they wouldn't turn around. They wouldn't even turn around. They thought I was just the boy who cried wolf, because I was winding them up so many times they didn't believe me. I said, no, I want to see a fucking see this. They turned around, and it was, and they were like, yeah. But even though you see land, it still takes about 4 days before you actually get to, before you get even anywhere near it. And I remember, I'll never forget being in the cabin, because I fucked my lat muscle up. So there was a few days where I couldn't actually row. So I was in the front cabin, and then Billy said to me, he said, oh, come out here, have a look what I can see. And as soon as I came out the cabin, I just turned around, like all I could see was the cliffs of Antigua and birds, and we lived literally right next to us. And I was like, wow, man, that was quite an emotional moment. I was like, fucking hell, man, we've done it. And yeah, it was good.
Man, let's go back to the beginning. Well, it's not the beginning of your life, but Dirty Sanchez, what a hell of a bloody. See, what year did it first come out? Was it 90s, wasn't it? Late 90s?
2001.
2001.
Yeah. But we were filming sort of mid to late 90s. Because Dayton and Denny and a few others and Dikey had a camera. So we were always filming skateboarding and filming us fucking about and stuff. And then it wasn't until we made the video Pritchard versus Dayton, I think it came out in about 2000. But that launched and MTV saw that, and then that's how it all happened, really.
It's a hell of a series. Oh, I know you hooked up with the Marines a few times during the course of that. And you went to Lympstone and did all the commando stuff, and you did it really well. I was really proud of you guys, because it's a big shocker for anyone rocking up at Lympstone Commando.
I mean, I used to be fit. I mean, I was just not 24/7 skateboarder, and then when Sanchez hit, fitness went out the window and everything was all about partying, just smoking fags, partying, and the usual, just non-stop fucking chaos. And then once we went to, because there was Jobs for the Boils, which was the second series, they chucked us into Lympstone with all those fucking Marines and stuff, and then we had to do all this fitness stuff. And I remember we were all like, any minute I would just, basically, I think Pancho was puking. I was close to puking, and just, yeah. And, you're on the mud flats and stuff out to sea, and it's like, oh man, this sucks. It's something I'd love to do now, but at the time I wasn't fucking interested at all. Don't get me wrong, we had a laugh, but it was hard work.
I was chatting with Pancho on the phone the other day because he's mates with Lee West, who's from up your way. He's ex-Marine, all kind of like special forces guy. They got a bloody inflatable, put a little engine on, and they went across to France, and they come across the channel to see how easy it is to get into this country on a dinghy. And it's great podcast, folks. Have a look down the list. It's brilliant.
That sounds fucking mental.
Yeah. And their asylum seeker, or their illegal immigrant, whatever we're going to call it, was a blow up doll. Yeah. And they got busted by the police because when they landed on the beach in Dover or wherever it was, don't quote me on that, folks. Like, because they weren't in a rush to like run away and seek asylum, they was packing the boat up and the police rocked up. And of course, the police were all taking it as if they're traffickers. And even though they're like, look, we got a blow up doll in the boat. This is a prank. It's a stunt. And they still, they put them through the mill, arrested them and everything. But he said he climbed, I don't know if it was Penny Fan or something. He climbed it with Yeah, he said he climbed it with Pancho, and Pancho rocked up with like 12 cans of cider.
When did he climb that with Pancho?
I don't know if it was a Penny Fan or one of the mountains in Wales.
It might be a mountain in Port Talbot or something like that.
Yeah, it was. He didn't tell me. He didn't tell me when it was. But Dirty Sanchez, the stuff you got up to, it was mind blowing. What do you think the kind of can we call it having a few beers first helped with the old Dutch courage?
Most of the stuff we see filmed in the day, apart from Pancho stuff, we were not. I'm going to take the piss, but we were pretty much sober. And there was the odd thing where we'd still be going from the night before in there. But then I think you can blatantly see that if you really look at the state of us. But most of the day stuff was sober, and anything in the house, the MTV house we had in Cardiff, we were off our heads or we were pissed or whatever it was. But the night stuff was mainly that, and then the day stuff was sober. But yeah.
Do you look back at it, Matt, with like fondness, or what your feelings because obviously your life now, I don't want to say, here's the thing. I've done some crazy things in my life, literally been sat on the pavement in Hong Kong, homeless, off my head. And other than, it's never nice to put your family through pain and stuff. But other than, putting that to one side, like, I've got no regrets because it's brought me to this beautiful place where I'm chatting with you now. You've done your run this morning. I've done mine. You got me out the sauna because I forgot we were 8 o'clock and not 10 o'clock. That was a funny one. And I bloody love it, mate. You are to me like the biggest celebrity we've had on the show. And I don't mean celebrity. What I mean is you're such a legend. You inspire so many people and you actually do it. You do the 4 a.m. club. I try to do the 5 a.m. club because that fits with and it takes commitment. And the diet changes and et cetera. But I mean, it's a real contrast, isn't it, to the party days?
Don't get me wrong, getting to where I am now wasn't, nothing like that is ever a straight line. It's like anything really. It's like business people say, success is an instant. You go through many failures before you get success. But I've had loads of ups and downs. And my missus can vouch for that because she has to listen to it and put up with it. But currently at the moment, I'd rather, for the last 9 months, I've been putting a lot of work into myself and trying to make myself a better person, not just for me, but for my missus and my family. I just want to that madness is gone, and I don't regret it. I absolutely, amazing times. You move on, and I'm 50 years old now, and I really do enjoy keeping fit. And I always have to have some kind of, I've got addictive personality, and if I get into something, I go in head first, and I've just changed my addiction from all that bad shit to the fitness stuff. All right, some people will say, but you're doing too much of it. I couldn't get too fucks, it makes me happy. And I just started this 4 a.m. club thing where, it's not for everybody, but it works for me. And my night times before was spent going out and doing all that kind of stuff. And now that I don't do that, I thought, well, I don't watch TV apart from Professional MasterChef coming up to Christmas time. It's absolutely love that show, or any cooking shows. But that's all. I don't watch TV. And so in the night, so I go to bed. I go to bed at 9 in the night, and then my alarm is set for 4 a.m. But I'm normally up before my alarm because my body clock just wakes me up anyway. And I go downstairs, make myself a cup of tea. I have a pre-workout drink, and I just drink them. And then I lace up. At the moment, I lace up and I go out and I go for a run. But it's either running or it's going to the gym. So, but I always do something. But the 4 a.m. club, I try and do it 5 days a week and have like 2 days off. Just so I spend time with my missus, so I don't wake up stupid o'clock, wake her up at the same time. But that's what I do, and I really enjoy it. And since I've started doing it, it's great, man, because I always post stuff on socials about what I get up to, and it's nice to see a lot of other people have started joining the 4 a.m. club as well, and started. I've had so many DMs of people saying, thanks for your posts and stuff. So, I've bought some trainers and I've now laced up and I've started running. All right, sometimes they're not 4 a.m. club, they're 5 a.m. club, or the 6 a.m. club, but it doesn't matter. They're getting up and they're going running, and that kind of stuff stokes me out. And it's like a guy yesterday commented on my Facebook post. He said, jokingly, well, give me a ring, will you? Get me out, get my ass out of bed. And I thought, oh, this guy's bluff. So I messaged him. I said, DM me a number and I'll phone you up tomorrow morning, as in this morning. And he did. So I was like, right, okay. So I phoned him up at 4 o'clock this morning. His name's Mark. And he's from Shrewsbury. And I said, all right, mate, it's your 4 a.m. wake-up call, yeah? And he's like, no way. And he said to me that if I did phone him, he'd run for a month's holiday. So I phoned him. He went for a run. He's posted it on my Facebook post. He said, "Oh, there we are. That's my run." He said, "I'll keep my promise though, and I'll run for a month." So, little things like that, and seeing people message you and say, "Thanks for the inspiration," is it's quite special.
It's amazing. It's funny. I'm probably running past people in the morning that you've inspired to put their trainers on. You might be running past people that I've inspired.
But it's like because some guy passed me this morning. He saw he was overtaking me, and he was running. He nudged me. He said, "Yeah, what's up, Pritch? Yeah, how we doing, man? 4 a.m. this morning, yeah." Well, he was 4 a.m. as well, and it's just there's a lot of people going through a lot of shit at the moment, and we all know life is in shit for a lot of people. I mean, we're getting our pants pulled down on a daily basis by the government and many other people, and a lot of people are looking for help and looking for happiness, and I think exercise really does help sort your noggin out. I'm not here to preach or anything, but knock the drink on the head and all that kind of stuff, and then just grab some trainers. And the good thing about running, all you have to do really, the only expensive part of running is buying your trainers. The rest of it is free. All you have to do is open your front door and just go for a run. I mean, if you can't run 13 miles, 26 miles, whatever it may be, just run a mile. Just try it. Just lace up, go for a mile, and I'll trust you. You will actually, you'll love it, and you'll see a massive difference in when you left the house to when you come back into the house. You've got such a better head on your shoulders.
Yeah, I think I put a post out a couple of days ago just saying that. When people say, "Oh, I can't run," I'm like, no, you're thinking of like when you were at school and they forced you to do cross country and you didn't know why you're doing it. And there's always some guy that just makes it look easy. And we used to hide our cigarettes up in the woods and do half the cross country, stop and have a fag, right? then walk the rest of it. Back in my day, if you didn't have your PE kit, they used to make you wear your underpants, right? This is how.
Yeah, same here, man.
It's why we've all got childhood trauma, folks. And, and I say to people, it's not that. Running isn't like running for the bus where you get exasperated and you're hanging out your ass and you just can't wait to stop. It's a spiritual, beautiful morning time that you take time from the busy schedule and you're working on your life and your dreams, and it's you taking action. And when I ran the London, which I did in 2005, it was a very special thing for me, Matt. And I'll tell you why is I put in for it, right? I didn't have anyone go, "Chris, want to run the London Marathon with me?" Or I was like, no, I really, I watched all the Blue Peter stuff as a kid. Was it Peter? What's his name? Peter Duncan.
Peter Duncan. Duncan days.
Duncan.
He was.
Yeah. And he did the Marines 30 miler, I think. And when he rocked up to Lympstone, the training teams were like, "Right, fellas, this guy does not finish it, right?" So he went from the first section, dropped back to the set. The Marines they're great people, Matt. Honestly, they on TV they didn't want to have it look that easy. Do you know what I mean? But
it's not easy.
But I entered the London and I put in for it. I couldn't get a place, so I signed up with a charity. I went out running. I was hanging out. I managed about a quarter of a mile and probably walked home, And yet within 6 months, I ran a sub 4 hour London, which, I didn't walk or I tried to walk a little bit. It was more painful to walk than it was to run. So I just kept running. And it's that beautiful sense of achievement that I could only run quarter of a mile. I was partying I still partied all through my training for the London. I was going out all weekend. I was going out on a Friday, not coming back till Monday. It can be done, can't it?
Yeah, it can be done, but it doesn't make things easy at all. It's just burning candle at both ends. I've been there, I've done it. I did it for years, and it's just it's almost like when you've completed a big run or whatever, or you've had a good week's training. All right, I deserve a good blast. But then, a night out for us, I'm guessing there's not a night out. It's a weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it kills your buzz in the morning with that hangover thing. You just feel a different person, don't you?
Yeah, hangover doesn't last a day these days. A hangover lasts a fucking week.
How do you keep on top of that, Matt? Because I make no bones about it. I still struggle with that if I'm not careful.
I don't drink. I quit 9 months ago.
Really? Yeah.
I quit everything. I've done. I'm not going to get into it now, but I hit an all-time low. I just asked for help, and I ended up working with a therapist who I'm still with, Chip Summers, who's been absolutely amazing. And I ended up going to smart meetings and stuff, which is like AA, but without some people with addictions, many different kinds of addictions. But I did that. Started doing that 9 months ago when I put my hand up and I just needed help. And then ever since, I've just been working towards what I'm doing now, and I feel so much better. And especially Chip's been absolutely brilliant. So it's been so I just don't do it anymore. Never say never, because one day at a time. But so far so good.
Yes, good.
I've been there. I've done it anyway. I've got a fucking ticket. I've got it all.
We'll come back to the we'll talk about all the ultra stuff, because it's just bloody, that whole ultra thing is, since you and I have got into it, it's taken on a whole Sean Conway 105 Iron Men in 105. It's showing people what can be done. But before we talk about that, I just want to say, going back to the Sanchez days, then you met some of the people from Jackass, didn't you?
Yeah, I met them all. Not on the Steve-O, Pontius, Bam's a skateboarder. I think not all of them, but yeah, I met some of them.
And Steve-O's kind of, he's again, he's got on the wagon, hasn't he? And
he's doing really well. I went to see him in London actually when his live show. That was really good. So yeah, he's looks like he's doing really well. Fair play to him, because he was flat out.
Yeah, I saw him chatting on the Joe Rogan show once. What he put his neighbour through, smashing through the wall. Crazy. So let's talk about the chefing, if we can call it that. But also, I remember you were doing swimming, weren't you? Way back, you were doing a lot of lengths in the pool. Was that your sort of first getting into the ultra stuff?
Well, it was because I did, triathlons and stuff like that. So I'd be training, I'd be swimming, cycling, running. Because I had the Deca, which was 10 Ironman, the continuous Deca, 10 Ironman, 10 days. So that was a 24-mile swim in a 25-meter pool, non-stop. So that was, I don't know, it took me about 11 hours, I think I did. I swam the Lake Windermere as well, which is Britain's biggest lake. That was 10.5 miles. And I remember doing that with my brother. So we had this idea. We'll jump into Lake Windermere, swim Lake Windermere, get out, jump on our bikes, ride to next to the Severn Bridge, and then we'll run home. And we didn't really put enough training in. And I jumped in that lake in May. Oh, Christ, it's cold. I had a wetsuit on and ice is cold. So I'll warm up when I get going. Yeah, it didn't warm up. The more I got tired, the more it got colder. And I was just, the last 3 miles were just hell. And then when we got there and I tried to get out, I tried to stand up, I couldn't stand up. And then the first thing that came into my head, what the hell am I going to ride a bike? But we managed. But that was good. I swam Ullswater as well. So yeah, I remember I went to, where was it? Bali. And there's the islands. Gilly. I was on Gilly Meadow and Gilly Tees there. And I thought, there's an island just. I wonder if I could swim across that. I said to my missus, I said, I'm going to ask if one of the guys with the boats will see me across there. So, oh, don't be so bloody stupid. And I spoke to one of the guys. He went, yeah, I'll see you across. So we just remember because we had to be careful because the current was coming through, so it would have taken me out. So I had to start going further out and then swam over to Gilly T there, and he shipped me back. That was a right laugh, enjoyable. Yeah, I do enjoy swimming. Really good, quite relaxing as well. Once you get a switch off and
yeah, I always had this dream to do an Ironman, and my mate Rob had done one, and he told me about it, and I was a crap swimmer, Matt, like I think probably most people are, even though I've been in the Marines and you did the Marines test, you got to be able to do a bit of swimming in all your equipment. But when I got to 48, I've signed up down our local life centre, and I just started taking myself there and watching YouTube videos on front crawl. And the first time I went, I swam 25 meters and I was hanging out. The pool attendant come over and said, "Excuse me, are you all right?" I think they thought I was gonna die, right? And here's the thing: within, a couple of years, I started to get it, and it was beautiful. It's a lovely art form, swimming, isn't it? You start cutting through the water, you start to feel how to shape your hands to push the water behind you. And I entered my first triathlon, a proper Olympic one down here in Torbay, and I was last out the water. I was doing the bike ride on an old iron bike, not iron, but aluminium bike, not. I was so far behind everyone that my little boy, who was 4 at the time, he was at the finish line going, "Where's my daddy? Why is everyone finished, but my daddy hasn't finished?" Right? When I finished the cycle, the crew come running up to me, said, Sir, could you just give up now? Because we all want to go home. I'm like, look, keep your medal. I'm not giving up. I'm sorry. And I said there and then, I said, right, 8 weeks time, I'm going to do quadruple Ironman, right? I knew a mate who'd done a triple Ironman. I thought, right, I'll do a quadruple. And literally with 8 weeks training, I did a quadruple Ironman. It took me 7 days. Ended up, yeah. And one day was because I had to drive up to Sherwood Forest for the Sherwood 100-mile ultra, which was the final bit. Went the wrong way on that and ended up running 108 miles. But, it can be done, can't it? It can be done.
Yeah, of course it can. But you just got to want to do it. And if you're that determined, then it doesn't matter. You can do anything to get across that line. A lot of people will just chuck the towel in, but most, if you're fucking, if you want it, you just got to get there. Yeah.
Sorry, keep talking about me, but I don't know if you saw, I did the Marathon of the Sands in May.
Oh, Marathon of Sable?
Yeah. Have you done it?
No, I want to do that.
Oh, Matt.
I know Johnny's done it. Johnny's done it.
Yeah, I think
somebody else in Cardiff has done it as well. It looks gnarly, man.
Yeah, we did it. It was the second toughest year on record. It was, some people reckon it was 60 degrees, but I know for a fact it was 52 degrees, and that's hot to be running 2 marathons.
Yeah, just a bit. It's bad enough when it's fucking 30 degrees.
But it was still funny that in the morning you sleep in these little Bedouin tents for the 7 days, and in the morning there's this big queue of people. And the first morning, I said to the guy next to me who'd done it before, "What is this, like breakfast or so?" I thought we had to carry our own food. And he's like, "No, these are all the people that are dropped out." I was like, but they're still walking. What? if I'm going to drop out, you're going to have to carry me out on a stretcher. um, they had two helicopters, mate. They were working full time because every 5 miles you just find someone would just collapse unconscious in front of you, and then you had to look after them and wait for the medics to come and get them, and then the chopper would come in and fly them out. It was it was crazy. But again, I only did 10 weeks training, just one foot in front of the other, and it's amazing what the results you get.
Yeah.
Matt, tell us about your am I right if I call it a tattoo parlor? Is that?
Yeah.
How did all that come around, and how's it going?
It came around because we were still doing live shows and everything off the back of Sanchez. We were just milking what we could off the, and the shows. Then this crowd started dwindling, and we were getting older, and some of the things we were doing on stage, I thought I just didn't want to do it anymore. And I put an email out to saying, "Look, guys, I'm done." And I was saving up, so I had some money saved over from all the years of doing filming and all that kind of stuff. And I thought, and I had an idea because head to toe tattoos and stuff. So I just went running and opened a tattoo barbershop in Cardiff City Centre. I've never opened a business before. It was, I just jumped in at the deep end, and hopefully I came out swimming. Luckily for me, and luckily for me that I had a good team of people. The shop was up and running, and it was doing really well. COVID, we managed to survive COVID. And don't get me wrong, it was a hard time for everybody in business. And we're still there today. And again, I've got a great team of tattooists and barbers, and Miles, who's pretty much my business partner in the shop. He's been with me almost since day one. He's just been absolutely amazing. He's the eyes on the floor because I'm not always there because I'm doing various other things. But yeah, it's good. It's in High Street Arcade in Cardiff City Centre in the iconic arcades. And it's brilliant.
What was the thing with the black arm?
It's not covering up a tattoo that I don't like. I just liked a black arm. I seen it and I went, oh, that looks banging. So I thought, well, I didn't want on this arm because I like the tattoos on this arm. And I like the tattoos on this arm, but not as much as I did on this arm, if that makes sense. And I can't even remember what was underneath it now. And I just went and had it done. But man, it's if anyone wants to get it done, it's brutal. But and your arm swells up a lot, and it takes a while to heal. But I've done it, man. And I got my left leg is getting tattooed as well as the same.
I want to talk about your book. Let's give that a shout out. I want to talk about the Brutal 300. Want to talk about your class videos because I'm fascinated how you get time to make such great videos all the time for your Instagram. Veganism, the Dirty Vegan is your moniker. How did that come around?
I went vegan in 2015 off the back of Cowspiracy and the fact that I just really wanted it. I just woke up. I didn't want to eat animals anymore. I love animals and watched Cowspiracy. I was looking into going vegan anyway. And Cowspiracy for me was the icing on the cake. And then, I'm a cook. That's what I went to college for after school. I just didn't. Obviously, my life took a turn, completely different turn. And then I was finding ways of replacing the meat on my plate. I got back into my cooking again, and I was looking on YouTube for recipe ideas and stuff like that. And I thought, fuck no, a lot of these vegan YouTube channels are boring. So I thought I start my own. So I started my own and brought my own bit of humor to it. And yeah, it went really well. And BBC then came knocking, and then that's where Dirty Vegan was born. And the first series came out, and the first book came out off the back of that series, and it just went from there. Then second series, second book, and then last year the publishers Octopus uh, gave me the green light for the third book. So I started working on that last October, I think it was. Got all the recipes together, and that will be coming. It's called Mathew Pritchard Dirty Vegan Fast and Easy, and it's out December the 7th. And you can pre-order it. I got all the links on my social media channels and stuff on my bio, and you can pre-order it, and it comes out.
We'll put all the links below this video, mate, so people can grab themselves or pre-order a copy or buy your previous books.
Cool.
It's funny that, isn't it? A lot of people don't get it, but like the world's top ultra runners are vegan, and some of the world's top like power lifters and bodybuilders, not the sort of steroid ones, but the actual natural, you know, they're vegan. I'm mainly plant-based. I mean, I have a liter of green vegetables every day. It's ever since I've been doing that, I've never been sick. So I haven't been sick in 20 years now. That's a good, makes it worth, for me, it makes it worth doing in itself, is because I hate being ill. I used to hate those coughs and colds and flus, and, you know, go on holiday and your second day on holiday, you're like, oh, I'm sick. And it's, yeah, vegetables is where it's at, folks.
Yeah, sure it is.
The Brutal 300 coming up. That's a 300-mile run. It's continuous. I think this year it's around a 1 mile circuit around a lake or something, is it?
No, it's the Brutal Events run course, which goes around. It's in Llanberis, at the bottom of Snowdon. It goes around Llyn Padarn, and it's a 5.4 mile all-terrain loop. I've run it on it many times. We're doing Brutal Events when I did double Brutal and stuff, which is double Ironman. And half of it is pretty flat, and then the other half is up through the trees and and through the forest and stuff, and then you back out and then repeat again. But then it's 300 miles. I think there's 58 loops of that. You have to complete the 100 miles within 34 hours to be able to carry on to go for the 300. So my first port of call is to get that 100 out the bag, and then concentrate on getting, and then trying to get the 300 then. But it's, you know, it's going to be, it's the first race I've ever done when I haven't pictured myself at the finish line. Normally when I sign up for stuff, I can picture myself and I'm pretty confident I can do it. But 300-mile run, you know, I got 110 hours to finish 300 miles. The elevation, if you do the 300 miles, is just over 27,000 foot. So it was a big ask, and I mean, you know, I guess let's wait and see. Let's wait and see how I get on, really. But I've been putting the fucking hours in. I've been putting the training in, so I've got 20 days left before training before I start tapering down.
Gas, you've been really committed, mate. It's been legendary to see. I'd come up and clap you on. In fact, I actually considered putting in for it, but we've got a 24-hour race around a reservoir on Dartmoor. It starts on, you start on the Friday. I think we start on the Saturday. Just me and some buddies. I said, look, I've always wanted to do this. It's a beautiful lake. My favorite run in the world is around that lake. It's almost 4 miles all the way around. And I said, come on, folks, let's do 24 hours, see how far we can, we can run. So I'll be running along, wishing you all the best, mate. All the best.
I'll be thinking of you two doing your 24-hour.
No, don't save the energy.
Oh, you're on, son.
Yes, yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. And the final thing, brother, is your videos. When I started to watch you doing like these little montagey videos, and you've done them abroad with your training, and you include your, you know, cup of coffee in the morning or lacing up your shoes and all. Do you do all that yourself, or do you have an editor?
No, I do it all myself.
Yeah. And Instagram's quite good for that now, isn't it? You can sort of chuck all your clips in and edit them down. And
well, I use an app called Video Leap. I mean, I've always found editing. So it's always scared me. I don't know why it scared me. I just find technology and I kind of like, I can't do that. I can't do that. I just didn't believe in myself. Of course you can do it. You just got to. And I got this app and I started messing about with it. I was like, oh, hang on. And I slowly but surely start really, really fucking enjoy putting these, because you have to think before going out. Or the night before, whatever, I've got this idea, I'm going to do this, but you have to think of all the shots, the different shots that you need to put to piece this little video together. So I sort of come up with it. And then sometimes when I'm running, I think of other ideas as well. So I take a tripod out with me. It looks like a baton, it looks like a fucking truncheon, and it just extends. The thing comes out. So I just take that with me. It's easy to carry in my hand, and I just not all the time, because sometimes I just want to run and so I won't have to stop and keep filming all the time because I have to run back to get the tripod and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I just film it, and then I get because I got a lot of. When you get up at 4 a.m., I've got a lot of time on my hands before everyone's even woken up. So I've been out, I've been for the run, I've got my footage. I then sit down with a cup of tea, and then I put the edit together and I put it up on my social channels.
Is the app on your phone?
The app's on my phone. It's everything on my phone. I capture everything with my iPhone.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah,
it's the same with cooking videos as well. I do it all with my phone. But yeah, that's how I do it, really.
Matt, listen, stay legends, mate, because you inspire a lot of people and you inspire me, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart, because sometimes there's days you need inspiring, isn't there, and you need to go, yeah. What would Matt do in this situation? He'd set his alarm clock and go for a run. Stay on the line, brother, so I can thank you properly. But yeah, massive thanks. I will be. No. I hope this is the first of many chats, mate, because this is this is the life, isn't it? Really, get out there, smash it, make some goals, try and get your diet in order, lay off all the substances and alcohol being the worst one, obviously. And
win before you begin.
Yeah, and life just. I've just found it puts beautiful people in front of me, and so I thank you very much. Matt, like I say, stay on the line so I can thank you properly. But friends at home, I hope you've enjoyed this chat as much as I have. We'll put all Matt's links below. Go and grab a copy of his book. Follow Matt on Instagram. It's
Pritchard, SWID.
Yes, that's Sleep When You're Dead. Am I right?
You can give the link at the bottom.
Yeah, we'll do all that. And friends, look after yourselves. If you can like and subscribe and do all that kind of stuff, support us on our Patreon. Every little helps. Massive, massive love to you. Have a fantastic day. Cheers.